This is the Fantasy Football Unlimited podcast with your host, Kevin Murray.
Ladies and gentlemen, she did it. Kendall Valenzuela, she took it down. She won the Stacked League. Congratulations. Welcome to the show. This is all about you and your massive victory. We're so excited for you, Kendall. So excited.
Yes, thank you, Kevin. I'm so excited to be celebrating with you. What a fun time. I was just so excited to even be invited to the league, to be totally honest with you. We had some rough spots. We'll go through it. I didn't think this day would come, but it was so fun. And so, yeah, it's so nice. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Oh, it's a thrill. We started this season, I think, week one interview, so much ahead. Obviously, you got a crazy fantasy season yourself, obviously on the professional side of things, and I'm sure you're in countless leagues. But this one had to have been special. What did it feel like to take this down?
Yeah, it felt good. I was nervous about it, to be totally honest. There were so many good people in this league and it was so competitive. I think the hardest part was probably those Tuesday waivers because Kevin, like when we do these waivers, you're like, "Oh, perfect. I'll go like a little Tuesday night action or, whatever, go into Wednesday." And I think that was the hardest part, was kind of getting used to that schedule. But yeah, it felt good. We did it with some questionable quarterback play with Caleb Williams and Bo Nix and some questionable running backs even, but it was it was a great time. I'm really excited to have taken this one down.
What a ride.
Yeah.
And for those that might be in the dark, this was the Stacked Charity League, put together through Jeremy from Reddit. I mean, it created an awesome format and some of the best analysts and experts in this league, in the fantasy industry in this league, and people that have been doing it for a long time. Well, look at the roster. You got Sigmund Bloom in there. He finished third or fourth there, and Dave Richard, obviously an icon from CBS. Sigmund Bloom from Footballguys, of course.
Yeah,
Dave Richard, CBS, doing incredible things all season. The Matthew Berry pick to win it all because he couldn't pick you. I recently watched that video. It was so good watching that again. We'll show that.
All right. So listen, it's friends of mine. I know all these people. They're all great fantasy analysts. I can't really be impartial, but the winner here clearly is Kendall Valenzuela from Fantasy Life. She crushed everyone. Everyone else is inferior to her. Kendall wins this one. I'm sorry? Got it. Okay. I'm being told I cannot pick Kendall. Got to be impartial, blah, 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 blah. I'm not allowed to pick Kendall. She's off the board.
Kendall Valenzuela, obviously Fantasy Life in here. Christopher Harris from Harris Football. Ben Gretch, Stealing Signals. Andy Behrens from The Deep Shot. Jake Ciely from The Athletic. Andrew Cooper from Fantasy Alarm. Justin Boone from Yahoo. David Kitchen from Late Round, Greg Brainos from the Coach Speak Index, and John Daigle from Establish the Run. It was a murderer's row of talent, and you did it, Kendall. From the start, it was you got off to a hot start, and obviously, fantasy took over, and there was a couple losses here and there, and Dave Richard took over, Sigmund Bloom took over, Christopher Harris, but the four of you kind of throughout the whole season, really dominated. It was impressive to witness. It was so fun to be a part of. And again, just starting from week one with you, of course, Kendall Valenzuela, Seattle Mariners, Seattle Seahawks. You were supposed to be on this final show with me.
Exactly. It's destiny.
It's destiny. So before we dive in a little bit more of Stacked, let's talk about 2025. I mean, the fantasy season, it's all but wrapped. Obviously, there are playoff leagues coming, which is fun. I know Guillotine has some playoff leagues, and there's a lot of fun formats in playoff fantasy football. So encourage everybody to get involved in that. But 2025 is wrapping up. Looking ahead, what are your early thoughts on what you might bring into the 2026 season?
Yeah, I think, this season especially showed me. I think, I used to always, and, we do all these drafts. We do so many drafts, Kevin, that like usually I'll change my format or how I draft based on which one, it looks like and stuff. But I think going into 2026, the idea for me is continuing to just anchor my team with an elite running back. I think that we've seen over the past couple of seasons, whether it's CMC finally staying healthy or Bijan Robinson still doing his thing, Jahmyr Gibbs, even though in the playoffs wasn't necessarily the best for people, like there's just something to having that anchor running back approach and looking at it and saying to yourself, okay, thank goodness I have some of these guys. And sometimes it just doesn't work out. If you had Bucky Irving, that stunk for a while. Chase Brown, the same thing. Like Amari and Hampton got hurt. So of course it's all going to differ. But I think going into 2026, those elite guys feel right, because I started this draft. Like I was looking back through my draft for this stacked league. And it was crazy that that my team did as well as they did, because my two running backs, I went 0 RB. I did Chuba Hubbard and RJ Harvey. So I went Puka Nacua, Drake London, T. Higgins, and then came back with Chuba, RJ. RJ had a good enough season towards the end there, but at the beginning, it wasn't like he was carrying me at all. Javonte Williams was probably my best pick of the whole draft because he went so late. He went in the 11th round, and he was really able to help save my running backs there at the top. And Quinshon Judkins for a while was as well. Like he had a good start to the season. It didn't finish very well, but I think it just goes to show sometimes, and it just depends on what your draft looks like. But I think, some of those elite running backs, especially, they help a lot. One, when they stay healthy, of course, you have to be lucky in that department. But two, it also just helps where you're not trying to do the guesswork sometimes of what running back's going to emerge later on.
Well, it was magical just in this league what you did, obviously with Bo Nix and Caleb Williams, right? You had receivers that were injured, throughout the season too. Then you have London and Higgins too, right? Like talk to me about this roster and how you did what you did.
I have no idea. Luck, a little bit of luck, like skill. Sure. Yes. We can absolutely say that. That's why we have these jobs, a little bit of skill there, but luck as well. Like Puka Nacua, I think is going to be on so many championship rosters, right? After everything that we saw from him, I know that thank goodness I didn't need like 30 points from him in that Monday game, because that wouldn't have happened. I still had Drake London there as well. But Drake London was hurt most of the time too. So to be honest, Puka Nacua was a big one. T. Higgins was injured for a little while here during the season as well. Jaden Reed went down for me. You might not see it on my final. I think I kept him on my bench, but Jaden Reed was out, and I also had Sam Laporta. So I was like streaming tight ends for most of the way too. So I really truly for these receivers that I had, it felt good to be able to win with what I did end up having and finishing with, because it was a little bit brutal. But that's why, the waiver wire, and that's why you also never give up. I saw some people, Adam Ronis and I talk about this all the time on my show, but if I looked at my roster now, like you showed me what I drafted and you would have told me that this would have won the whole league, I would have been like, I don't think it will. But sometimes you get a little lucky, right, with some of the outings. I had Quentin Johnston at one point, I know, on my roster when he really was going through that big stretch. That helped a lot. But yeah, a little bit of luck and skill on the waiver wire. Just that you don't give up, even if your roster just looks completely down, because a lot of my guys were injured at different points during the year. You just keep moving, and then you get here. So it's fun.
Oh, that's awesome. What a journey. You gotta love it. That's
no kidding.
Fantasy's about. It's the journey.
Exactly.
It's the camaraderie. It's having fun with league mates and whatnot. But you got off to a hot start. At what point was there a little more panic, or at what point did you start looking and saying, "Oh, how am I going to compete with, or how am I going to keep up with some of these front runners?"
It was probably whenever our trade deadline was that because I think the trade deadline for most people, you look around and you say, okay, where you fully assess your team. You say, okay, can this team, especially the dynasty formats, for sure, you have to do that every year. But even in your redraft leagues, you have to look around and say to yourself, can this team contend and win? Like, should I be trying to put out all these offers to try and go for it? And I remember the trade that I made at the time, I was really nervous about it because it almost felt like a panic move a little bit, because I did trade for Caleb Williams. I had this thought, though, that Caleb could continue to come on down the stretch, even though he had a gauntlet of teams that he was facing. Like, I really looked at the schedule and I looked at just some of the pieces that team had. And I said to myself, okay, I don't just want Bo Nix. So I don't recommend that every single time. Like, you kind of have to take a little bit of a leap of faith. And at the end, I still played Bo Nix more times than not, except for this past week. I played Caleb and I think he got, 1 or 2 more points than Bo Nix in that one. But I think that was the time that I really looked and I saw trouble ahead and I was like, okay, who can I ship off? And I think it helped too because I shipped Quentin Johnston off at that time when he really plateaued, when he fully like kind of tanked a little bit in the middle of the year. So I think that also made my roster decisions easier because I had solid enough wide receivers where I think I would have overthought some of those start sit decisions. I would have been like, well, do I really want to go, do I want to go with Jaden Reed if he's available? Do I want to go with, someone else here? So I think that was the time that I looked and I was panicking a little bit, but we shipped him off for Caleb Williams and he did fine at the end of the year. Like I saw like 18, 21, 23 fantasy points in the playoffs. I'll take that.
Take that any day. And that's what, so what happened. You put yourself in position for the playoffs, and then you had to take down Andy Behrens.
Yeah.
Then you had to take down Dave Richard. And then you had Christopher Harris in the championship. And you did it. Again, amazing stuff. Obviously, you've touched on some of the keys to your success there. What are your biggest takeaways from just being a part of a charity league like this and that experience?
It's so fun. It's so fun. Like it honestly, I love all the leagues I'm in, but this one was so exciting because not only did you have the element of every single person in this league is stacked, right? They know everything that they're talking about. I was just grateful to even be thought of and invited to this league. So I was super happy to do that. But then you add the extra element of like, okay, we're doing this for charity. To me, sometimes it makes it a lot easier to just go really hard for that. And so the whole dynamic of the league is fun because you just want to put your skills to the test. And it also just helped me in a lot of my other leagues too, because like I said, our waivers ran early. So you were able, and I hope that people who followed had a really good time doing it because you were able to follow and kind of get a little early insight, especially into the waiver wire. So I was grateful not only to be invited, but to also just be able to see where I could hone my skills in other leagues. Like how much did we pay for this guy on the waiver wire? What moves are people making before they go into weeks, whatever, XYZ. So I think that was the best part. And then, like you said, for charity. So we do it all for the thrill of that too. So it was just really exciting. I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, it was amazing. I loved the aspect of some of the coverage. You have articles, and obviously my interviews here have been so much fun. Just personally, it's been just fun to be a part of it. But the coverage of it's been so cool. Seeing chatter around the league, all the way around. You did not just win money for charity and for Fantasy Cares, but we'll talk about your charity of choice in a second.
Yeah.
But you got that gold helmet coming your way.
I know. I'm so excited because I've got mine right here, like right there that was sent, which is so cool. But now I'm ready. Like I was telling, I'm going to tell our CEO Elliot, I'm like, okay, I think the helmet's going to go over here. Maybe it replaces this one, but I'm excited for the helmet. Like I told everyone on Sirius XM today, I was like, we made obviously the most important part, money for charity, but the gold helmet, I'm ready for it. I'm so excited for that to get here.
Oh, that could never be taken away. And people are going to see that for years to come. They'll be like, what is that? That reflective gold gigantic helmet? It's beautiful. Green Gridiron. They make some amazing
from
products.
Bo Nix. Just kidding. I'll be like, no, it probably wasn't. But
you need to put stuff some Seahawks on the bottom of your roster at some point.
I know. Well, I drafted Torrey Horton at the end. I was like, okay, I need someone here to shout out to AJ Barner. He got a touchdown. I was streaming.
There you go. There you go.
So I feel like I know it was hard to root for Puka. Like, Puka knows, like it's Seahawks every day. But in my fantasy league, thank you, Puka Nacua, because you really did save me a lot.
But no, I forgot about the Barner thing. You're right, absolutely right. He scores a touchdown. He's in your lineup. That's a phenomenal way to go. I love it. But with your charity, what is the charity that you competed for and then that we're delivering for?
I know, $5,000 to the American Diabetes Association. So something near and dear to my heart that I think people who know me, it runs in my family, both sides. My dad is diabetic, my grandpa as well on the other side. So it was really fun to be able to do that. That's just an organization. And like I said, a charity that's near and dear to my heart. Hoping that it just helps, them and others who kind of live through that and go through that either for themselves or through their family members, because it affects a lot of people. And so I was just happy to do that for my dad and, my grandpa and anyone else who has that and battles with that day in and day out. Just know that you're seen from me and that, it's one that I care about a lot.
I love it. That's absolutely wonderful. Another task on your plate, potentially last place punishment. Yes. John Daigle. He had some tough breaks along the way. It was so highly competitive at the bottom of the standings. you can't take anything away from anybody in this league. They all competed super hard. John Daigle, he's in that spot. He has 3 last place punishments to choose from. One, I believe, is to wear like a uniform or a jersey of a competitor for a week or on shows or whatnot. Another one is to run the 40, have that timed. But most likely, everyone's thinking it's going to come down to the first place, the champion, creating a speech, for him to read off on social media. I think that's where it's going. I hope that's where it's going. If that is the case, anything on your mind when it comes to how you might want to construct a statement like this?
A statement from me? You know me, I try to be
statement
positive.
That he has to read, like it's, I don't know if it's, if you do it from his perspective or
probably
if it's,
his perspective. He can say how great my team was and everyone else's team. I see this is the worst. Maybe I'll get Dwayne McFarland to help me on that one, because I know he'll have some things that he can help me add, because I try to be nice. I'm not going to write anything mean. Maybe I'll say that his first 2 running backs just stunk, because he had Bucky Irving and Amarian Hampton. Like he was battling from the beginning, and that sucked with Amarian Hampton. That was Matthew Berry's ride or die. So if it does come down to it, I'll maybe make him recite a poem about how great the Seahawks are, first of all, how great the Seahawks are, obviously, and how great my team was, because that's what we do for fantasy punishments.
Of course, they might as well add in some Mariners stuff.
Exactly,
too.
Mariners 2026, World Series. We'll just make him say the whole thing for Seattle sports. I think that's what we have to do.
I love it. We'll see what happens with that. Hopefully it's, it's done in great taste.
Oh,
it hits. Of course it will. And I'm sure, obviously if you compete with him in the future in another league or in a league like this, you got to keep that, that good relationship.
Exactly.
Any final thoughts, feeling like this is your time, this is your platform, this is your moment right now to kind of give your thanks out there. Thank those that have brought you to this moment.
Yeah, it's just how fun. I just had so much fun with it. I thank everyone that was able to put, first of all, just the league together. There was a lot of work that people didn't know, like from you and all the articles written, everything. Like, I want to shout everyone out that had help with this league, because again, it was so fun. And I hope people learned something from it, because that's the whole point, right? Like, we do this for charity and we do this for the glory that I get to have now. But at the end of the day, I always like helping people and making sure that, we continue to give the best content and stuff. So it was so fun. I'm ready to repeat. I'm ready to do it again. So everyone buckle up and just be better next year. It's totally fine. Or I'll run the table again. But no, it was so much fun. And so I think, like you and like you said, everyone that was involved, and hopefully we run it back and we do it again in 2026.
I love it. Well, huge congratulations to you. You deserved it again from start to finish. You were in the thick of it. It was so fun to kick off the season with you. It's so fun to end it with you.
Look at this. Bookends. Just like the universe knew.
Exactly. I mean, it's destiny, just like it is for the Seahawks to get to that Super Bowl.
Yes, please.
Any final thoughts on fantasy life 2026? Where are you guys heading?
My gosh, we're doing great things. I love being over there. So make sure everyone goes and checks it out. I'm still live on Sirius XM 5 days a week too with Adam Ronis. So that's a fantastic show. I'm biased, but that's 7 a.m. Pacific time, 7 to 9. So check that out. We've got great off-season content coming at Fantasy Life as well, and just kind of getting ready for 2026, like the NFL draft coming up sooner rather than later, and then more fantasy drafts in the future. So that's where you can find me.
I love it. Well, I'm a huge fan of your work. I'm a huge fan of your skill set. Like, you're as talented as anybody in this space. But most importantly, I'm a huge fan of you as a person. You are fantastic. I was rooting for you from the beginning. Massive congratulations one more time.
Thank
you.
Best
of luck. Enjoying that. I think that gold helmet should be arriving at some point. You might need some help with carrying that around or shipping or whatnot, because it looks like it's a mighty fine piece of
I'm wearing it. I'm wearing it on my next show. I think the next Sirius XM show, right? You just put it on the whole time and people are like, what's happening? And I'm like, no, I won the league. So you just have to soak that in.
She's the champ. You can't ever take that away. Kendall Valenzuela.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Football Unlimited podcast. Until next time, be sure to follow and subscribe to all of FFU's social media accounts for daily content.